it. Okay. Woo woo. So our first episode of Hot Cocoa Critics, that's not going to be about Christmas movies, not going to be about hot anything. Okay. It's going to be, what do we say? Like iced cocoa. And it's going to be our extra special Barbie edition.
Barbie.
And this is number one sales lady, my new dear friend and sister in comedy, Anna Ramirez.
Thank you for having me. This is great. We've been talking about doing this for a little while, and now here we are.
Oh my gosh, exactly. And I'm so excited because I feel like this is the beginning of something super special. And you're in Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
With the breeze.
Yes, the land of Selena.
Oh my God, Selena y los Dinos. Selena por vida. A corazón, a corazón.
You really should come and visit, and I'll take you to the museum and you will flip out because her fashion is all on display, you know, and it's like some of the stuff, it's like, girl, I know you went and got that at Kmart, but it was super cute and you couldn't walk out without it. And like, it's there on display.
I'm going to trip you out because how about I've already been. Yeah. And I have a whole file dedicated to all of the pictures I took at the Selena Museum. I'm always happy to go back. Everybody there was super lovely. But me and mi amiga, we went years ago. And
it's such a blast from the past in there.
And to go into the recording studio, talk about a Barbie. Selena was Barbie. Like she was our, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, she was our Texas Barbie.
She was our Texas Barbie. I think like so many people were just obsessed. Like I found out about her because my mom introduced me to her. Yeah. And she was this girl and she's singing in bras and spandex pants and big old belts. And I just love her. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, the fashions were great.
And then her voice and her energy on stage. And I mean,
I nerd out and geek out all the time.
Geek out. And did you see that little video on Instagram of that little girl hitting a Yolanda Piñata and a Selena costume for her birthday?
That's the only kind of party to have around here.
Dude, she was dressed in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo plum colored two-piece with the flare pants, and her hair was in an updo. She was a baby Selena. She was like a Selena Niña, if you will. And she was busting this big, square, ugly, wide Yolanda Piñata. When I find it, I will send it to you to just make your whole week, because that was some cute shit.
Yeah.
Oh, because isn't she up for parole or something?
She is. Next 2026. I think there's a countdown and everything.
Let me know. I am definitely a part of La Familia on the ends. I roll out for Mexicanos. Let me know where the march is. I will be there.
Get together.
And a bra and spandex in solidarity. Yeah. Singing Bitty Bitty Bumba completely incorrectly, but with great pronunciation. Okay?
Yes.
Yes. Oh my God. Maybe we should do a whole episode about Selena.
Oh my God. I know I took you way off track. I'm so sorry. That's my bad.
It's literally, it's who I am. I'm Squirrel. You can take me wherever. We will get back on the topic.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. I'm Squirrel too, very much, all the time.
That's why we vibe. That's why we vibe. I'm like, what? I was doing stand-up the other night and this girl walked in with a dog and I went over my minutes by like 2 minutes because I was like triggered by the dog. And she had like some nude biker shorts and I was like, you nude biker shorts, move it along, move it along, move it along. Taylor was dying. It was Taylor Needham's mic. She was dying. She was like, I'm like, go put the dog up in, we're indoors. Do they allow pets? I had so many questions.
Yeah. No, and like nude spandex pants are questionable.
She had body yada yada, but still.
Questionable. Even on Kim Kardashian, it's like
Cruel. Cruel. Okay, well, speaking of fashion, segue. We're wearing pink because we saw the Barbie movie.
Hey, Barbie. Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
Now, I'm just going to be very vulnerable with you and tell you, Anna, I saw it 2 days in a row because it was so much movie. It was so much for the senses. And I actually saw it with 2 other comedians who are also going to do critique maybe, because they're like, I got to process it. We were going to do it that night. We were going to just do it while it was all fresh.
Yeah.
We were backstroking in Barbie like content.
Yeah.
We were like,
but
we've
the
got
movie, it's just so much. It's hard to process it right after. Yeah.
What did you think? Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, took me way out of left field. I actually didn't know what to expect because they don't tell you what it's about. It's just like Barbie, Barbie, Barbie. And you feel like, oh, well, maybe it's just like Barbie and she's grown now or something. I didn't know if it was going to be still for kids or not.
Yeah.
And it just turned out to be this whole social commentary on how we treat each other, really, and how we treat women and how we perceive them to be and those kinds of things. So for me, it just was, wow, like finally, this is such a good movie.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think so. I cheated a little bit, kind of on accident though. Isn't that how cheating always happens? So I was listening to this podcast. I'll plug it, Smartless, because I love it so much. It's a very good podcast on Wondery. And they being Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes from Will and Grace.
Yeah.
They interviewed Greta Gerwig, who is the writer and the director of the Barbie movie. And I was so excited to go see it because of our episode on Standing Room Only, where we just went all Barbie and we just did it. Like, y'all really gassed me up to go see this movie.
Even Koo was pink.
Even Koo were pink, right?
Yes.
He's such a team player. And I think he liked being the only guy that night. Like, he was like, it's ladies' night.
Ladies' night.
The ladies. Like the ladies' man. But yeah, so I listened. So I'll give you a quick little backstory because I didn't know this. And I think the thing that you and I vibe off of is geeking out over like behind the scenes knowledge and background and stuff of movies and celebrities, and that's our jam.
Yeah.
So if anybody hasn't seen it, like the super main characters are like Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, and then there are like really great supporting actors like Issa Rae, of course.
Yes.
You have Kate McKinnon,
who's great. Yeah, Kate. Yeah.
Jesus. And then Dua Lipa was in there, and I didn't even realize it.
She was one of the Barbies? She was
Mermaid Barbie.
Oh, she was Mermaid Barbie.
She was Mermaid Barbie. Yeah. So we had like some cool cameos with like John Cena and all that. So there was a lot. I'm sure I'm missing names, and you're gonna check me on any names I miss. But I will say this before we get into like casting. So apparently Margot Robbie got the rights to Barbie, something she'd been working on for a few years, which fits. I mean, I think we all kind of were introduced to her in Wolf of Wall Street. We had no idea that she was in Pan Am, like all those years ago, that TV show. Yeah. But she was introduced, like, I think her big moment was Wolf of Wall Street, and that she looked like a Barbie. We were like, who's this Barbie looking woman?
She looked exactly like a Barbie in that movie. But also exactly like Joe Dirt, she looked very like, like a, what's that show? Hillbilly Barbie kind of.
Oh, Daisy Duke, like Daisy Duke. Or, yeah. It was like, yeah, so she got the rights to Barbie, and then she reached out to Greta Gerwig to see if she wanted to write it. And it's all happened in March of 2020. And we all know what was happening in March of 2020. The world was shutting down. Well, it had shut down. It just finally got to the United States, and we finally decided to like participate.
Yeah.
So anyway, she said, look, big script or big idea. What will it be? And Robbie was like, do what you want. And so Greta and her husband Noah co-write projects together sometimes. So for anybody that's mad about anything having to do with Ken, I believe Noah wrote everything for Ken. It was written by a man with a wife. This is it.
Yeah.
He's
and
a dad.
it did seem very like man bro.
It
Ken.
did. And then she said they never knew if it was going to get made because of where we were at that time as a world. So they just wrote this crazy, insane thing. And then when it looked like, oh my gosh, we might be able to make this, then Greta was like, well, I don't really want to give it to anybody else to direct. And then Margot goes, so you do it. So she got to direct it. And then she reached out to the set designer of, I know I'm going to screw this up, Star Wars. Because she based it off of somebody who could do really good miniatures.
Yeah.
Because she's obsessed with miniatures, she being Greta.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the story. And he was fresh off of whatever the last big Star Wars movie was. And she was like, oh yeah, by the way, it's awkward at times. I'm going to be asking you about things for Barbie. He's like, I'm totally into it. So like she said she would have these surreal moments where she's texting him like, I can't believe I'm asking you, like this big, large set design guru. And his name is escaping me right now, but I'm sure we could dig it up.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
I wouldn't. I don't even know the Star Wars movies all the way. So
yeah, I haven't seen all of them. They're wonderful movies. I just haven't seen them all.
Correct. Don't quiz me. Princess Leia is what I got. I got Princess Leia in R2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, so yeah, she geeked out. She was like, oh my God, I'm texting you about Barbie. I can't believe it. So that's the crazy backstory behind the movie. So if people feel like it's a lot, they had a ton of time to write it and they didn't start shooting it till I think she said 2021. And she said that's she really wrote cool. It with Ryan Gosling as Ken. Immediately knew Ken was going to be Ryan. Right. It hadn't asked him.
You could really tell that they really went on and on and on with the imagination of writing because yes, they went in deep. Like it was a deep movie.
It was deep. And also little plug for manifesting what you want. She wrote it for Ken, for Ryan Gosling, wrote the Ken character for Ryan, had not asked him. All in the script, it just said Ryan Gosling as Ken, Ryan Gosling as Ken. And then one day she just shot him a text.
Like, hey, will you be Ken?
And he said, okay, cool. Because she said there was something about him that she knew he could just be funny. Like she said, he just had like a funny way about him, even like in other films that she saw him in.
Yeah. His mannerisms.
Yeah. Yeah. And she talked about how she could tell he was a comedian at heart. And then she said, out of nowhere, he started sending her pictures of outfits that he could wear.
Yeah. As Ken. Or he probably already had a whole Ken closet already, just like put this on.
This is my moment to wear the pastel green and the pastel blue on the beach.
Let's beach.
Let's beach.
So funny. I was just like trying to plan, you know, my friend Tina La Cochina, it's her birthday coming up soon. And I was like, do you want a beach?
There are so many good phrases that have come from this movie, like Beer Brewski.
Yeah.
Beer Brewski sent me and DDT over the edge. Beer Brewski, Brewski Beers. Brewski Beers sent us over the edge because it literally said beers are for men. Like,
yeah. This is Brewski Beers, Broskies. Yes.
I want to ask you this though. By the way, like if anybody's watching this at any point, at any time, Are we going to do spoilers? Are we going to spoil it a little bit, or what do you want to do? Do you want to leave a little something to the imagination, or do you just want to go like full Monty and just speak freely? We want to
I think we just should speak freely, because by this point you should have seen the movie already.
You should have already seen it.
This is the assignment. It was handed out a while ago.
We knew. We had the syllabus. We knew. Barbie check. Beyonce's next. People, keep up. Keep up. Keep up. Keep up. Okay, great. So let me ask you this. What did you think, now that you've seen the whole movie, what did you think her feet going from pointed to flat meant? Did you feel like there was a metaphor in there, or what did you think about that moment? Because it shifted the whole movie, right? That was like the thing
that's
that
when she started to like get all the feelings and started crying and all of those things. Yeah, because she had showered and then like no water came out. And that was funny, right? Like, oh, haha, in Barbie world, it's just kind of like how you play and everything like that. So whenever her feet went flat, it was kind of like, oh, well, she's still going to be able to just like walk right off the roof, or those things. Like, what's happening is the magic fading, is there a tear in the ozone layer? What happened? And that's exactly kind of like what happened.
Night 2, the best thing I ever did, but I'm gonna make it that sincere. The best decision I ever made was to go and see it a second night, like right after I'd already seen it.
Yeah.
I think that was a metaphor for her period. I think
because she was like in the shower.
Well, when her feet dropped, everything changed. And like all of a sudden she's taking a shower and she's getting wet. Not saying, just saying. Not saying like puberty maybe, because now you're no longer playing with dolls. Now it's no longer playtime. Now all of a sudden, like and your hormones kick in and you can get really depressed. What was it? Irrepressible fears of death, thoughts of death. Yeah, they kept saying that. I mean, could that have been a metaphor for depression? Don't know. Or PMS.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Ken is like, well, Ken was always in the way.
Yeah, Ken was always kind of a little bit of annoying, a little bit.
He kind of was.
And then he turned even more annoying when she come back and then it was like, what did you do? Yeah.
Yeah, because her feet dropped and weird Barbie. We needed weird Barbie so badly. Don't you think?
That circle around her eye, I think like some of my Barbies for sure had that. And I would draw right here on their arms.
We've all cut some hair.
Or tried to color it with something. Yeah. Put nail polish in it. Yeah.
Or left her permanently in the splits.
Yes. Well, because after a while they would get like real wangas, like loose, and then they wouldn't hold up anymore.
You saying wangas?
Wanga.
My entire day, because I immediately knew what you meant.
You know the word. It means loose.
I know enough to be dangerous. I know enough. I know enough to giggle in an elevator when a bunch of ladies are speaking Spanish around me, and then they're like, I'm like, Honduras, Panama. I pick an Afro-Latino country and go with it. Like, oh. But yeah, like that, we needed her because I feel like she kind of, until America Ferrera stepped in, and then we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. And then we understood, that the little girl that was playing with Barbie, she was already a woman, so yeah, definitely a metaphor for a period right there with the feet going flat, because yeah, that you're getting the same emotions from who's playing with you, so yes, this is a woman with all the thoughts and all of the fears and all of the anxiety and all of the everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and dealing with her daughter that's all like pissed off at her for no reason.
That girl was out of control.
Yeah.
She's out of control.
She's out of
CPS
control.
would have been at my mama's house a long time ago. If that's how I had acted, I would have got picked up a long time ago.
Yeah.
No, but she delivered the point that she's a teen, a woke teen.
Woke teen, and it's super smart little girl and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But
She
I
knows-
also loved how she fell in love with Barbie Land. I did love that.
Yeah, I loved how, when they all went to Barbie Land, she ended up falling in love with it and understood that, you know what, it's okay for me to be a girl. It's okay for me to do these things. You know, sometimes the world, especially at that age, when it's like you're in middle school and it's like, oh, girls, and oh, look, you have the stain on your pants, and
Oh,
don't
yeah.
touch her. And those things, you know, walking around with your backpack super low. That's what we would do. Like, make sure that backpack is always covering.
Girl, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
remember that? It was super
Oh
insecure
my
time.
gosh.
Yes, you
We
loosen
would
the
always
strap.
check for each other when you get up. Like, girl, do you see
Yeah.
anything? No, you good, you good, you good.
Yeah.
The
Can you
most
see my pad?
stressful
Can you see my pad?
time.
That was the thing too. Yeah.
Can you repeat that? What'd you say?
Remember, can you see my pad? Like, you know, because in the beginning I wouldn't wear tampons, I would wear pads, and it was just like, is it sticking out? Like, it just felt like it was just out on display for everybody
Can
to
we
know.
just keep it really real? We're women of color.
Yeah.
If you were, I can speak, I had lots of Hispanic girlfriends growing up. I sound like a Karen. I had 5 Hispanic girlfriends. And that's why they're Spanish, La Raza. No. But what I'm saying is, particularly what's not different about like households when you're a person of color, all of our households are honestly the same. They really are. We think it's so different. It's the
We
same.
grew up in the same neighborhoods and the same bus stop and all that.
Correct. So it's protect the girls, make sure they don't get pregnant, teach them how to make decent top 5 meals, and get good grades just in case, like whatever. And another thing is, you don't let a lot of us menstruated early, like earlier than white girls, like elementary school, early and junior high. I mean, it was just kind of the thing.
Yeah. I was in 5th grade.
Yours was what?
I was in 5th grade. I was 12.
Okay, mine was into 4th grade going into 5th. So in 5th grade, I was rocking a purse, and I've been a bag lady ever since. Lord help us all. But where I was going with that is, our moms typically didn't want us wearing tampons to preserve our purity.
Yeah, bust out this big old maxi.
Put a pillow down there and send her on to school. You know, it's like, what? So
Totally.
because of that belief, right? Like that if you use tampons, then it could also make you impure or whatever. We had to wrestle with this pad situation. I also thought of a lighter note about the heel dropping. It also could be like, remember when you were like in your teens, maybe your 20s, maybe, and this is also a style choice, but like a high heel didn't bother you. You had no problem by the end of the night at the club carrying the heels to the car. Like, we would just put on these crazy, ridiculous heels. And then once you got to a certain age, you're just kind of like, I just want to be comfortable, and I wear some flats or a sneaker, and I need to
don't
make
have to be carrying anything.
Yeah. So I also thought maybe that was it too, but I feel like it was a metaphor for the period, and they in case there were kids there, because Greta did say that she wrote it as it was very purposeful that she wrote it as a high PG-13, not R, because she said she compared it to her inspiration were movies like Clueless.
Yeah.
And
totally, like 16 Candles.
And where like the kids would get the overall humor, but the parents would get some of the other jokes weaved in that kids just wouldn't understand. And if
the coming of age stuff.
Yeah. Coming of age stuff. Yes. So what did you think of So it sounds like we agree. Ken was completely like void of identity without Barbie. I mean, that was a theme you kind of couldn't miss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When they separated, he didn't know what to do with himself. He was like, I'm bored. I'm gonna, what do I do? And then he just started reading man stuff and became crazy.
So crazy.
So crazy.
I feel like that might have been a political metaphor for performative masculinity, but
yeah, he like incited a riot and everything. Oh, by the way, this over here, this is a real cat.
Anna, what would I do without you? I would never know a real cat, but in a fake cat in the background. So is this to make him think he has a brother or what?
No, this is actually, you know what? I looked it up on eBay, and if it didn't have this crack right here, this thing here is worth like $1,000.
Girl,
Yeah,
paint over
this
the
is
crack.
some kind of like 1970s ceramic cat, and I have it
Paint-
outside of my yard.
Paint over that shit and secure the
Both
bag.
right here.
Can I tell
Like
you?
right here, like this, it's worth like about $50 or $100. But yeah, like if I had it more
It's
intact,
pretty.
that'd be good.
Girl, it's pretty. And I will tell you a deep, dark secret. I'm allergic to cats and I'm allergic to dogs. But when I went off to college, my parents got my brother. I have a brother, kid brother. Ooh, ooh. He would hate it if he heard me call him my kid brother. Okay. But he's like 7 years younger than me.
Oh, so he's like, how old is he now?
You tried it. I'm so interested. How old is he now?
This is my show.
Girl, if we don't keep this lie going, they can never know. Okay. You're just the worst. So they got him a cat when I went off to college. Like all of a sudden it didn't matter. I'm like, but I'm coming home for Christmas anyway. Yeah. And I would have asthma attacks the whole time I was home. They're like, it's just mental. I'm like, it's not mental.
Like I'm alert. I can't breathe.
Yeah, and the cat hated me. And he looked just like that. He was a Siamese cat.
Aww.
Just like that. And he was gay.
That's so funny.
He was totally gay. He hated all women.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you don't have to hate women to be gay. That's not the point. What I'm saying is that like it didn't matter if he knew you or not. If you were a guy, here he comes. Strutting up, weaving between the legs and all that BS. But if you're a girl, he's like, whatever. Did not care. Was not interested. I'm like, he's gay. It's fine.
My gorda, no, she likes to hang out. She has to be where everybody's at. And usually out here, sometimes the comedians come over and, or sometimes I'll do all girls comedians and we'll be riding out here and she's on the table and goes to every single person. But if I have a dude over, like, a dude,
I can.
He is like on his lap, on his shoulder, climbing. And it's like, you need to get off. Get off. Like
She's
with the girl, she comes and says hi and wants you to pet her and all those things. But if I get the Ken at the house, she goes crazy. She wants it.
Kitty is like, hey, Ken.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Gorda. I have Gorda, and then I have Flaco, and Flaco is an outdoor cat, and he is all black with the yellow eyes, and he's very sexy.
Oh yeah.
He walks like this, and he growls. Yeah.
Yeah. Flaco is Pantera.
Yeah. He's a tomcat. He runs around, but he comes and eats here.
Of course, because as long as you put dinner out, he'll come right back.
Come right back, yeah, but he goes out. He's a hoe.
Yeah, and then he's for the streets again. He's like, thanks, Mom. Bye.
Exactly.
Yeah. How cute. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, Ken. Okay, so question, because I have another super like cinematic nerdy thing to acknowledge. I noticed, okay, remember that dance routine at the beginning of the movie where they were wearing like white and gold or whatever, and Ken seemed, Ryan Gosling Ken, because there's a bunch of Kens, he seemed to know the routine like the back of his hand, like he was almost bored with it. And then after he goes to the real world, realizes that men run the world, then he comes back with like a Grease Lightning level, Gladiator level routine. And it seemed really disruptive to me, to the plot. Honestly, I didn't love it, but I was like, well, it's here for a reason and I need to understand the reason. And so I guess I decided that Ken developed this like performative masculine identity in the real world. And then he was dancing to Barbie's choreography at first. He was dancing to her beat, her drum. But he comes back from the real world with this performative masculine identity with like Lone Ranger mixed with Best Buy. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then his dance routine is not original, but he's dancing without Barbie's instruction or without her around, so he doesn't know what to do. And all while this is happening, they're taking over the government again. They're like, we need it.
It's January 6th at Barbie Land. Yeah.
Literally that. And
that's the vibe I got.
Yes. And one of the comedians did say this. She did say, she did notice, and this irked her, but I want her to have a chance to speak on it on her own. Or she acknowledged it. She's noticed it, and I think it irked her a little, that all of the women of color were empowered. Like they were just women in power.
Yeah, the president, everything.
Everything. And that
the
felt
doctor.
Like, right. Keep thinking, like there was a doctor, there was scientists, there were, but all of those women that like run the world were all women of color. But to some people that felt a little performative as well. Like, oh, look, we gave the women of color power. You're welcome. Now, anyways, this is definitely a film about feminism, but it's gonna be through a certain lens. And there are a lot of people that feel like feminism is for white women first, and then women of color come in second. Like, we have to kind of identify, hey, don't forget about this for us, like health disparities and inequities, like in healthcare and all of that.
Yeah.
As an example. So there are some that felt like it spoke too loud, and then there are some that felt like it didn't speak enough about the issues. Like if you're gonna go there, finish the sentence. Some felt like it did, some felt like it didn't. What do you think?
I feel like they did their best, because at the end of the day, Barbie is white. Barbie's fucking white. She's blonde, she's white, she is not Asian, she is Caucasian at the end of the day, and she is the main character. So they had to do the inclusion somehow, because they weren't going to be able to get away with the movie to be all the way white. Like there's just no way. And also too, in the Barbies, there's different ones. There is like the Asian one, the Black one, the Latina one, the Native American one. They didn't have enough Native American representation, I don't think.
I would agree. And did you see, I thought the discontinued Barbies was a nice inclusive touch.
Yeah.
That was very tongue-in-cheek. Like inclusion was all discontinued. outside of what was the Black one's name? Claudia? Christine?
Christine, is it? Or is it Nikki?
Christine and Teresa. There was a Teresa who's Latina, and she had a short yellow outfit, and I was here for Teresa. I'd forgotten all about Teresa.
Yeah. Yeah, they all had, I remember one time walking into Toys R Us, and they had all the names, and they had them all listed, and they all had their different things.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they had to do it in some kind of way, shape, or form, and I think they did a pretty good job about including as much as they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. I think it leaves room for a sequel too.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves room for another story to be told, because so Barbie chose to become human. The gynecologist was like, if you missed the part about Barbie having a period, then we can't drive it home any more than this. She's going to the gynecologist, people.
Yeah.
I thought she was going on a job interview at first, but apparently it was a gyno. I want to walk it back a second because I asked one question, but I meant to ask you two. What did you think of the whole Ken story and like the dance routines? Did you need them? Could you have lost them? Like, how did you feel about that?
Let me
Did you
see.
find
I
it
do love a musical. I do love a musical, but this was not a musical. I don't think it was because they weren't like singing lines, you know, like in a musical. Like there was
Right.
actual music break kind of thing. So I think that was kind of cool. Maybe they did too many of them a little bit. Like I wanted a little bit more story and to
Yeah, I might
continue with
agree.
it because it would
Yeah.
pause the whole thing.
Yeah.
It would pause the whole thing and pay attention to the song, you know what I mean? Which was, you know, and they did have a lot of songs.
Because I think like the overarching theme of the movie was identity. Like, if you were to bottom line it, identity, you know?
Yeah.
But what did you think about Ken and his, you do love a musical. So as somebody who loves musical theater, what did you think about the dance? You said it was a little much. Okay, great. But what did you think about Ken as a trope, as a character? Like, do you think his story needs legs? What do you think? More legs.
Like, you know what? I think we needed Ken's story was awesome because it was very like, yeah, what about Ken? And there still needs to be a sequel because now that we know all about Ken, what about Alan? You know, Alan was always just like, I'm right here, you know. And he wasn't, you know, as much trouble as Ken was in the movie. You know, Ken was, you know, he had to have Barbie, and if Barbie wasn't around, you know, to keep him entertained or whatever, then he would get into trouble. Idle hands, idle thoughts, and then, you know, riots ensue, you know, beach offs happen and stuff, and it's
Idle
just like
thoughts.
wildly crazy. Yeah, suicidal thoughts, all those things start to come in, you know. So
walls are
I thought that
closing.
was so cool.
You know what, Anna? I love you so much because let me first tell you, I'm telling you so many deep, dark secrets. We may never put this out. I'm just letting you know.
This might just be for us.
One of my I have hall pass categories with my husband Richard. You've met him. He's a sweetie. Okay.
Yeah, he's a sweet guy.
So he's giving me these hall passes that literally are not ever gonna come to fruition. And if they do, he's gonna be like, great, make daddy proud. Like, I don't know how we got here. Yeah. Michael Cera is my nerd. I have 3 like celebrity nerd hall passes. I am so obsessed with Michael Cera as a
vessel. He's really great in all the movies. Like, I love Arrested Development. He's great in that.
He reminds me of like my high school boyfriend, who I dumped right before Valentine's Day to save him money.
Aww.
But he was white, so he obviously bought my gift. I was like,
he had already bought it. Poor guy.
I'm like, well, in my family, my daddy buys my gift, my mama's gift the day of. Anyway, but yeah, I have been madly in love with Michael Cera for a very long time. To see him in the movie, I was just like feet up, ready to go. Like, okay, we have a movie. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
Michael Cera is it.
Love me some Ryan. Like, I felt like I was watching Magic Mike. I was like, oh, all my hotties are here. Great.
Yeah, like the Asian guy, I don't know what his name, but he was great too. I was watching him mostly during the dance scenes because he was a little taller than everybody and bigger, so he stood out a little bit more and he moved just a tiny bit slower. So it was like, oh, but he's he's doing it, you know, but in his own little way.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. I was like, see you.
But this is the thing. I don't remember there being like Asian Ken or different size Ken.
There wasn't.
Right? It was always the same Ken, right? There wasn't like different dudes and they're all named Ken.
No.
right? In the Barbie, in like when you, yeah.
Well, I think so actually, because there was a black Ken once, but he was just Ken. That's the joke, because it's like, well, we don't need to come up with other names. You have a whatever Barbie
We'll just paint him
adjacent.
different colors and he'll always be Ken.
Yeah, but he still has Anglo-Saxon features, but whatever. So do the Jacksons. Nobody's complaining.
Yeah.
Nobody's complaining. Okay, so did you understand Ken in the tie-dye hoodie? Can you tell me what you thought that meant? Because I never figured that out at the end.
Tie-dye hoodie. When was he wearing the tie-dye hoodie?
I'm gonna tell you when, and this is what's gonna make you remember. He chucked the fur at the cute black Ken, this allegedly not gay one.
Yeah.
And then when he had the meltdown on the balcony with it was towards the end of the movie. You may have fallen asleep. If you had I would not have.
Wearing like the bandana with the lightning on it and everything.
Yeah,
like
but he was like having the meltdown, the suicidal thoughts or whatever in the back and on the balcony. And it was, you could tell the movie was coming to an end because like the creator of Barbie had shown up. What is her name? Why can't I remember her name from Cheers?
Oh,
Danny
Ruth.
DeVito's wife.
Ruth.
Ruth, what's her name in real life? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't have my phone's over here, but I should remember and I don't. But yeah, she was in
Fabulous.
Cheers and she's
Yeah.
hilarious. All her life has been amazing.
And that hair is iconic. Anyway, we know what we saw. Okay, so he chucked the jacket, chucked the fur coat. The Sylvester Stallone, who knew I had never seen those pictures of Sylvester Stallone. I had no idea he was such a fucking dreamboat back in the like, girl. If
Yes.
that's what we were.
Still is. He still is. Even as an his face is a little woo, but his body's still rocking.
I support you. Know that. I support you. You want it, I want it for you. You want it, I want it for you. Okay. I want it for you. So he had that fur coat, and I was like, okay, all right. And he chucked it, and he traded it for like it was a blip because it said Ken. Oh no, I'm gonna forget.
Did it say Ken Land or something?
No, it said like Ken Awesome or Ken Amazing or Ken Dependence or something. I don't know. And it was across the hoodie, and it was like very supportive of himself, like loving himself. I may have written it down in my notes. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get to the scoring because I kept you here way longer than I said I would, and that was not a scheme or a scam or a gimmick. I really thought we would only talk 15 minutes, and I should have known better.
Yeah. I know. I feel like we just are such chatterboxes big time. Like
even with Will Ferrell, we didn't even bring up Will Ferrell.
We
and like
didn't bring up Will Ferrell and how cool he was on the show. I thought he was gonna be like really mean. I thought he was gonna go to Barbie Land and just start smashing things and stuff.
I did too.
I was kind of picturing more Will Ferrell like in the Elf, where he just he's like too big for everything.
Zoolander.
Kind of thing. And he ended up being like quite understanding, like, no, we need to repair the thread. We need to, keep Barbie back to the way it is. Because what did you think about how they made Mattel like an evil corporation?
Loved it.
Like gray walls and like, oh, you're going to get in trouble now. You're fired, but and when they finally got to the very top, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But it was still like, hey, this is Mayday trouble. Like, we need to fix Barbie Land.
Because I even went as deep as to think about like, okay, so they were sitting around this big like conference room, and they had these pink velvet or pink suede looking chairs, velvet chairs. But everything else, to your point, was black, gray, and then Will Ferrell had on like a light pink shirt. What?
Men in Black offices. You know how the desk, her receptionist desk gave me totally that vibe.
Yeah, and we thought maybe we were walking into like a Mad Men setting, like we weren't sure. And then Will Ferrell had on like a light pink business shirt with like a hot pink tie, which felt very just brandy, like very marketing and possibly insincere. And the fact that they tried to put her back in the box made me feel like a couple things. Like one, even weird stuff like people's parents' obsession with long hair. Like when I know girls who had long hair growing up and their dads freaked out when they cut it. Like,
Yeah.
you're not a girl anymore. You've cut your hair. And it's like, Dad, it's just a hair, calm down or whatever. Or
Yeah.
like when society tries to put a woman back in her box, like I'll use myself as an example. When I was a swimmer, my body was fucking tight. Okay. Like
Yeah. She looked good.
she looked real good. And I was always being compared to like a Janet Jackson or a Serena Williams or whatever. And then when people see me now, decade later,
They want to go like, oh girl, like you
but
don't
remember
wanna go
when
to the
you
bar?
were, but I remember that, but you used to be, and it's like, whoa.
I am
Whoa.
a full woman right now.
And I still exercise. I am still an athlete. I can still swim a bunch of laps like Aquaman. I can do all that shit if I want to, but I am no longer a student athlete. Like that's crazy. But they try to, okay, you ever think you get back to the, and even us, like as women, we try to go back to something that we were, put ourselves
Yeah.
back in this box of an identity when we've evolved past that identity. So though Barbie's outfits were super cute, which we're going to get to, her Birkenstock outfit wasn't not cute when she was going to the gynecologist. Why would you walk in there in a little tart of a dress and a kitten heel? That's weird. Like, why would you do
You're
that?
gonna wear a sensible shoe. You don't know how long you're gonna waste.
Correct. And then you're going to have to slide that foot out of that Birkenstock and slide it into some stirrups.
Yeah, exactly.
We need a sequel just to see how that visit went.
Yeah. When I love the part where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any genitals. And then Ken's like, oh, I have all the genitals. I have all the genitals. And I think, that was probably Ken's flat foot moment where it's because Ken was not supposed to have anything, but then in front of the dudes, he's like, no, I have. So maybe like his balls dropped, like he also got his puberty. And that's when he's like, oh, rage, testosterone.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Ken's visit to the real world was like multiple foot drops for him because he just was like, women aren't construction workers, women aren't presidents, men.
Construction workers, that's right.
Mhm. Men slap women on the ass.
Yeah, women bring brewskis, and that's it.
And that's it. They're meant to wear little clothes, and everybody had on super short shorts, even the president. And then I even think about like what that may have meant, that the women in leadership were totally happy just bringing the brewski beers and like serving their man. And I think sometimes that's a metaphor for women who go to Ivy League colleges and get a husband and don't do shit with the degree they paid $100,000 for, and it's a bachelor's. Like women not using their education because they've married well and they serve all the time, and how you can really be both if you wanted. And so I think that just came to me, by the way, because I was like, what? I need to understand why you took the president, put her in some cowgirl booty shorts, and she's dumb. And then I just realized, oh, it's the Ivy League. Like I knew girls that literally went to very expensive colleges, universities, to get an MRS degree.
Found a dude and he became a doctor, and the rest is like, oh, okay, I don't have to work.
Yeah, but like you have matching degrees. Like what the hell? Okay, so before we wrap, because that movie was a big movie, we'd be fools to try to cover this all like right now, but I do want to get your final rating. But before I do that, let's walk it back a step. When the screen first went up and the little girls were playing with the dolls in the desert, right? And they wig out because Barbie shows up, and then we go to Barbie land. Just walk me through like the butterflies in the stomach. Did you get some? Did you not get some butterflies when you saw, like, how much anticipation did you have for all the pink and all the brightness? Like, talk to me.
I loved it because, it had the narrator, talking about like back, you know, and they seem very like caveman-esque, you know, because they were in the rocks and stuff. It's like back in the day, little girls could only play with baby dolls, you know, and they could only like, you know, their imagination could only go up to right here, baby dolls. You're gonna
Yeah.
be a mom and that's it. And so when, you know, like here comes Barbie and she's wearing high heels and she's showing
Yeah.
all of her legs. I remember when I was a little kid, like I actually never got to wear shorts until now I'm in adulthood, you know, like because
Mhm.
as a little kid, my parents were like, no, you can't, and they're too, and it has to be long enough, and like, oh, just let me be a girl. And it was hard.
I
And then so when I
know.
finally grew up and like in, you know, middle school, high school, when it's like, okay, just wear whatever you want, then I was super self-conscious about my legs because you put it in my
Never
brain since I
shown.
was a little child that,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until like actual like 20 something that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rock a cute pair of shorts,
Yeah.
you know, and I felt confident enough to wear them. So it was very that moment, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can be a astronaut or a construction worker or whatever I feel like being that day. And that's what is so much fun about being like Barbie. That's why I love that scene where it's in the very beginning and they're at the beach and like Ken gets hurt and right away the ambulance thing shows up, because that's how it was playing with Barbies. You would be fine and then like let's make this whole drama and then like, oh
Yes.
no, they fall down and like her art, yeah, and like let's
So
like
much drama.
yeah, play the doctor now. It's all those things, or attorney Barbie and stuff. You're going to jail, like silly things, and play into the drama of it. And I thought that was so cool. Yeah. But I do want to make one comment, you know, going back to the fashion and everything and
Yeah.
how women and everything fashion. And you know, I'm so sick of seeing, you know, especially now that women coaches like in the NBA, especially are, you know, like being more like even they're even coaching for men now, you know. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sometimes they get like if they wear something too cute and she can be completely covered up 100%, like it could be all the way covered up, but if it's too feminine or you look too, and it's like, oh well, what are you trying to do? And it's like, I'm trying to look good and coach this game,
Because I'm
you
on
know.
national TV.
I'm on national TV.
I deserve
Thousands
to
of eyes
slay.
are on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you Americans have always told us that we have to wear the makeup and the hair and all the things if we're going to be in national TV.
Correct. But also
Right.
don't
Now you
tempt
don't like it.
men.
Now it's too much because I'm doing it for me instead of doing it for you.
Mhm.
No, no. Like
Yeah.
that
And then we're
lady from
responsible for men's
Costco.
poor behavior.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it is
And
a real mind fuck,
it is. It
especially
is.
as we were talking about, or I brought it up, being women of color, especially. And I think all women go through it, but I think women of color, we go through it on a different level because, as we were just talking about, we developed earlier
The va 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 boom.
the va 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 voom. Then we have very heavy religious foundations in our families. And yeah, it makes you hard to love your body no matter, because even when I was like super duper fit, my mom or other people, society would call me masculine. I got teased as much for being super muscular as a fat girl got teased for being fat. It was the same. And the one thing that I will toot my own horn about as a kid was that I was astute enough to pick that out. Like, y'all are teasing me as much as y'all tease the fattest girl in school. Y'all know that, right? So where is the norm? Because there isn't one. And now when everybody's getting older, they're obsessing over my 18-year-old body. That's weird. It's weird. So when you talk about like the fact that you didn't wear shorts until you were basically a young adult,
Yeah.
and I could wear shorts, but they were like knee length or had to be mid thigh, and I was a tall kid. So,
Yeah.
you know, we go on the dress
You
code
had
and
to
all.
buy the weird long ones. Yeah.
Yeah, these long legs and like use your fingertips. And thank God I was proportionate. My fingertips would keep me out of trouble half the time because I do this, and they're like, okay, wow, oddly enough, it's all. I'm like, send me back to class, please. We don't have time for this. But yeah, I do. I really do feel like, Barbie does allow you to feel like, okay, I can at least have an imagination, even if it's in the privacy of my own little playroom. And also, I have a Rosa Parks Barbie. I have not shown her yet, but I do have one that a friend gave
Aw.
me years ago.
Does she have the little hat on too?
Everything. You want me to grab her? You want to see her?
Yeah, show her.
I'll
Because
grab her.
Rosa Parks, she looks super cute in every picture.
Oh, okay.
She was very fashionable. Her
Yeah, I have
glasses.
a very special relationship with Rosa Parks, but
She had a little
yeah.
purse. Yes. Oh, yes.
You can see her.
She is so adorable. Yes, her hat. Yeah. See, even her, she had to wear the long dress. She couldn't show no knee.
Visual kneecaps. Now, but I do agree with you a great deal. Like, I feel as though, women are not taught to love their bodies for 1,000 reasons. You're too skinny, you're too voluptuous, you're too perfect, you're too this, you're too that. And then one day they're like, okay, just love your body and then do whatever you want. And it's like, no, I can't. I had to train for this and I didn't. It's like you threw me in a marathon and I've never run before.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I agree with you 1,000%. And I did like the representation in Barbie. I liked the fact that there was a curvier Barbie in the movie. I liked the fact that they showed a pregnant Barbie. I really loved, my favorite part of the whole movie, to be honest, was the end when they showed the actual Barbies that were discontinued to like prove we didn't make this up. These were like, what was that, Sugar's daddy Barbie?
Sugar Daddy Barbie. Yeah. Yeah.
Like their attempt to even have like a gay Barbie, and they didn't even want a gay Ken. They didn't even want to call it a gay Ken. They just were like, he's got an earring.
Yeah.
Or
he's
like
a different kind of Ken.
Right, he's just a different kind of guy.
Yeah.
The girl,
Yeah.
like the Barbie with the TV in the back and all that, when TVs were
Well,
big, cars
the
and stuff.
one with the camera or whatever,
Yeah,
remember that
camera,
family
thank
that had like the 13 kids and they were all locked up and stuff like that and they escaped?
Yeah.
Because the other day I was gonna get my period and all that, so I wanted to watch like true crime for some reason. It just like got in my head, and on Hulu, the two older daughters were being interviewed, because like, yeah, and they told the story of everything and how it went down, and they showed all the body cam footage and stuff. And so they somehow had gotten cell phones, but before they had cell phones, they had the Barbie thing, and that's how they would get that's how they got evidence.
Girl, stop.
Yeah, because that's how the little girl proved it to the cop. The cop was like, well, do you have proof of any of these accusations? Like, yes, look, this is pictures of my little sister right here.
Barbie cracked a case.
Barbie cracked a case. Yeah. Who knows how many people's lives she has saved with that camera Barbie.
Because could you imagine, like, if you were a kidnapped kid or something crazy, putting just like a Barbie in a window or something weird, and then a neighbor walking by saying, "Now that's weird because they don't have kids. There's just a guy living there. Why is there a Barbie in the window?" And then like sending the cops to go investigate. I wonder how many like cases there are out there like that, where like
yeah,
Barbie
like
saved
the
a kid's
time the
life.
Pizza Hut app saved the lady. She had like ordered a pizza, but she was being kidnapped by her boyfriend and he was hungry too. So he's like, yeah, order a pizza at gunpoint. And so she put in the notes, please send the police. I am being kidnapped, but also a pepperoni pizza, please. Technology.
Also, if you end up in the trunk, kick out the back light. Everybody kind of knows that, but in case you don't, do that.
Yeah.
Or be so fat that they can't put you in a trunk. I don't know. I don't know. Eat so much pizza they can't put you in the trunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so what's your final score? So costume design. I mean, I'm just gonna assume we loved it. We loved the Barbie
It was
costume.
great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Hairstyle.
I loved all the
loved them.
colors, all
Loved
of the
colors.
shapes. And also I love how they kept the houses sort of similar to the ones, because like the purple one where the pregnant Barbie lived, I had that one.
You had that
And
one?
then I had that one, and I also had the one that Barbie lived in, where everything is like the outside kind of, the Malibu
Yes.
Barbie. Yes. And my friend, they didn't show this other house, but my friend actually had it up until very recently. I told them not to sell it. I was like, don't sell it. And they're like, no, we're going to just sell it. You know, our daughter doesn't play with it. I'm like, but this is a Barbie house from the 90s. Like, don't sell it. And it was a big Barbie house. It had this huge dormer and like a balcony and stuff. It was beautiful. I was
had
trying
that
to look for that
house.
one. I don't think I caught it, but maybe I need to watch a movie again.
No, I had that house.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah, I had that house. I got it for Christmas. And so the rules in suburbia was whoever had the Barbie mansion won. So like if you had the Barbie mansion, we're all clearly coming over to your house to play. So I was like queen of the block. I'm like, I've got the Barbie mansion. Y'all all have to come over here. But then they came out with the Barbie mansion with the damn elevator. And I didn't have the elevator. And the most popular girl in 5th grade got the Barbie. She was like mid popular, but then when she got the Barbie mansion with the elevator, all the sleepovers were at her house because we had the elevator. My mom tried to circle back with the convertible. It didn't work. The convertible, it didn't work. They were like, but do you have an elevator? And I was like, no. They're like, well, we're still going over to Sarah's house. I'm like, which Sarah? Sarah S. I have therapists. I have a therapist, as you know.
I still to this day want a pink Barbie Corvette. I want the exact same old school one from the 90s. This is
not the season to buy it, girl, because you already know it's like exponentially more expensive because this movie has come out. And as of like last Sunday or Monday morning, the report came out that Barbie movie has grossed $1 billion. It is the first female-made movie to gross $1 billion.
Amazing. Breaking records, shattering inside.
Are doing it for themselves.
Oh, I love that song. Oh
my gosh. I love
you. That song should have been in the movie. Was it?
I know.
No. It should have been in the movie.
They needed Patti LaBelle. I feel like what's going to happen next, and I don't, I'll place a bet. I mean, with no money involved, just like bragging rights and being right. I wonder if they're going to do another lead Barbie. There's going to be a sequel. There's no way they can just end it here.
Yeah. We need an Alan spin-off TV show, and we need a sequel for sure, like to explain more things.
We need more things explained for the boys. And we also need a Barbie movie with a woman of color lead. And then her whole story and what she decides, because this is, so we have two things. One, and this is a controversial question I'm asking. Anna, I need you to be brave. I need you to speak loudly. Did you want to stay in Barbie land, or did you appreciate the real world? Do you want to stay in the real world? Let me say it like that.
I mean, in the real world, it was so cool, right? Because everybody thought she was weird.
I know.
Right? It was very like, remember that the Brady Bunch when they did the movie, but their family was still in the 70s, but it was like the 90s?
Yes.
It gave me totally that vibe, and I loved that movie.
Yeah, so you reminded me of why I felt like I'd seen that. You reminded me. Thank you.
Yeah. It was very Marsha, like that.
And everybody was like, what's going on? Yeah. Okay. So, but if you had a choice, would you live in Barbie Land? Or would
Oh, if
you
I
stay
had
in
a
the real
choice, I
world?
would live in Barbie Land.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I live in Barbie Land.
All right. So anybody I've
But
seen that's
it's
watched
always
the
a
movie.
party, and it is always. In fact, I was telling my coworker this the other day because he was complaining about like, oh well, we have a coworker that doesn't want to do any of the extra side stuff, which is like just simple, like lock the gate, turn off the light, turn down the AC, shit like that. It's an office, you know. And he's like, but he doesn't want to do. And I'm like, dude, just be happy, dude. It's Barbie Land. My land, my life is always Barbie Land. Everything's always a party. There's always happy. Okay, I don't need you bringing your Kendom up in here, complaining about
Kendom.
some silly stuff about like a light switch or something. Like, just no, I'll turn it off. Yeah,
We got it. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
That's
Barbie
what the shirt
Land.
said. Kendom. No, man, who knows?
Kendom.
Me too. Okay, so before we go. Okay, what is your score? What do you give it in iced cocoa?
All of the icy waters.
Anna, this is amazing. I'm gonna stop recording. You can come back if you like, but I'm gonna stop recording. Thank you.
I gotta pee.
Okay.